If everybody gets seated, we can begin. I kind of want to stay to this very strict itinerary today. So, first of all, I'd want to welcome everyone here. I'd also want to thank YMI for providing us this amazing space here. Apparently the acoustics are amazing. I can hear them back here. So welcome guests. Thank you for coming to the Wells Fargo Diverse Community Capital Grant announcement. I am Vanessa Corral. I'm with Wells Fargo, and I'm also a Mountain BizWorks board member. I can't tell you how excited I am to be a part of this announcement today and how this grant will benefit our community by expanding opportunities for diverse entrepreneurs in the Asheville and surrounding areas. And if at any time you can't hear me, I'm not used to having a mic. I'm just used to talking really loud without one. It's my nature. Please let me know. So talent is equally distributed, whereas opportunity is not. And when I was an entrepreneur many moons ago, I heard Oprah Winfrey say something, as if I need to say her last name, just Oprah. She said something that always stuck with me. And she said, follow your dreams or work a lifetime for someone who followed theirs. Grants like these and the effort of organizations like Mountain BizWorks allows entrepreneurs' dreams to become reality. I'd like to recognize some of my Wells Fargo colleagues, and I think it would be a little bit easier to stand up when I say your name. We have Karen Lambert, Region President, who will be presenting later on in the event. Brandon Wallace, Market President and Business Banking Manager. Kevin Hefner, well, they're all at the same table, this is easy. Senior Vice President for Middle Market Banking. Rod Banks, here you are. Community Development Officer. Roger Aiken.
Roger's going to be here.
Okay, so he's absent, but he is the Private Client Group Managing Director. And Michael Andrew, Wealth Advisor with Private Banking. Thank you so much for being here. I'd also like to recognize the Mountain BizWorks staff. If you could please stand. I know there's a lot of you here, so I probably won't say everybody by name. These are the people who all make it happen, and of course, fellow board members of Mountain BizWorks, if you could please stand. Let's recognize your effort and vision. Thank you so much. So, our facilitator today serves as the Entrepreneurship Program Manager at Mountain BizWorks. She has been an entrepreneur herself. She is a Mountain BizWorks coach, a college professor of business, and a volunteer on numerous important civic boards. Superheroes wear her pajamas to bed. Please welcome Kimberly Hunter.
Thank you, Vanessa. I'm going to give you a hug because that's what I do in the office. I'm not going to belabor you with too much of my own talk, but what I do want to say is this particular grant is very important to the work that's already being done in our region. In our community, we have many organizations, Mountain BizWorks being one, who have devoted their practice to elevating and really creating equitable opportunities and visibility for diverse communities of color and specifically African American owned businesses. As a former business owner, and now I get to work at Mountain BizWorks, I know what it's like to have a business be invisible and work really hard to make it a national presence. It's what I did. And so personally, I'm very much dedicated to not just talking about African American owned businesses and their visibility, but being integrated and embedded in a community that celebrates, supports, and creates commerce and pathways of marketplace that do the very thing that elevate those businesses. And so I am going to share a little bit with a friend of mine. We've invited Sasha Mitchell. I'll introduce her and then I'd love for you to just give her a warm welcome. Sasha is a foster parent, a historian of family genealogy specifically for African Americans. She has served several years on the African American Heritage Commission in Asheville and Buncombe counties. And not only is she a friend, but she, many years ago, I remember being at her house, decided out of the blue that she was going to start something called The Color of Asheville, which has been running for 5 years, and it's basically an open source online communication tool to just elevate Black-owned businesses. And so she's done a tremendous job doing that out of her own time and her own commitment to the history of this region. And please welcome Sasha Mitchell. So this is going to be a little cafe style. We're going to do Q&A. So I think it's really important before we get into the nuts and bolts of this campaign to talk about the history of Black-owned businesses in our region, specifically Buncombe County and Asheville.
Thank you very much, and thank you for having me. I love this area. I feel like Asheville is a place of great opportunity. I moved here 9 years ago from New Jersey, born and raised, and I was very surprised to learn out of the blue that my own great-great-grandfather had a business on Eagle Street, right next to Smooth's Barber Shop, and it knocked me for a loop. I was really shocked because I was researching that area. You may or may not know that this street and Eagle Street, right up there, were once a thriving Black-owned business district, part of several sprinkled throughout the community. And we have great opportunities to uplift and create more Black-owned businesses, but it's been something that helped form and create the myth of Asheville as a very progressive place, friendly to the Black community. There have been great opportunities for growth here, but there are many things that need to be repaired.
Yeah, so let's talk about vibrant economies as a whole, local economies that include diverse communities. And specifically in this conversation, we're going to talk about a vibrant and whole local economy that really includes African American owned businesses. What was different before, and what are some things now you think we can do to repair and really make a vibrant shift?
Part of the reason, an unfortunate part of history, but part of the reason that we had such a thriving Black-owned, Black business district is because of segregation. At the time that this neighborhood was established, it was set at a place where African Americans had been enslaved. The street where they lived was right over there. It was called Negro Road at some point. Isaac Dixon had a subdivision there, and many people just wound up living here and establishing their businesses here. It was a segregated area, and people were not allowed to shop wherever they wanted. So there was kind of a locked-in customer base for any Black-owned business. In addition to that, there were many doctors, lawyers, professionals, craftspeople. People who had been enslaved had often been trained to develop and build skills in various forms. Here in Asheville, you may have heard that there was less attention to small farms and more attention to any business that was around here, like the hotels, the hospitality industry that has always been one of Asheville's bigger drivers. Everywhere that someone needed to do some work, enslaved people were trained to do that work well. When slavery ended, there were people who had a lot of skills and a customer base who had to shop with them, and they built up good businesses. There was also a great drive among the Black community to uplift the race. It was after slavery that there was the establishment nationwide of schools. There's always been a push for education, and there was a real drive, a very insistent movement to teach young people, to encourage investment. This building here was requested by the Black craftsmen who helped build the Vanderbilt estate for a local community center for them. It housed churches, it housed small businesses, it had a YMCA, like rooms you could rent. And some of our biggest leaders in Asheville, like Floyd McKissick, his grandfather, Isaac McKissick, right? Yes, was mentored by a local doctor here who, helped him pay for school. And I've found many, many instances of the people who had success giving and lifting and encouraging other people to follow in their footsteps. So all of those things helped make a thriving Black business district. Things that have changed are, once desegregation was established and people had the freedom to shop wherever they wanted, people imagine the margins of your business. If you all of a sudden, any large portion of them stop shopping there, not because they don't like your business, but because they say, finally I can shop wherever I want. And then there's a loss of capital. There's so many historic factors between urban renewal and that loss of capital, and the loss of capital in property that happened during urban renewal that served to take away the economic strength of the Black community. And all the businesses that were fed by that suffered. And when in those Black businesses, if you got paid, you would support your neighbor, maybe the piano teacher, or all of the business money that circulated within that community just has been dispersed and lost. So that's a lot of what we see that helped the business community thrive and then took away that health that made it so strong.
Thanks for that history. And so now you can see we move to today where we talk about, well, then what can change, what can be different? And so obviously we're not going to solve that in this short conversation, but this conversation is going to lead into a lunch conversation of table topics that will hopefully harvest some of the thoughts in the room about how we move towards a vibrant and inclusive and equitable, accelerated economy of small business owners that are Black owned. Because the change that you're talking about really now requires an acceleration factor, right? If capital shifts, if customer base shifts, if consumerism shifts, if all of these factors, not just one factor, but many socioeconomic factors, play into the vibrancy of any one people group, then what often happens once those are dissipated and dispersed, where is that central and very centered acceleration? So what are some things that you see, like maybe anchor institutions that are highly identified as places of commerce? What's missing to accelerate what's needed to bring Black-owned businesses back to a level of visibility that is within the local and regional economy?
One thing that's missing is people. I wish I had the numbers. I have percentages tracking the reduction in the percentage of the Black population, and it is projected to shrink even further to scary numbers. In addition to losing the population, the numbers of people who remain here are very often economically struggling. When you add in all those factors I just talked about, people who have the ability to move have moved, and people who didn't have largely remained. And we've seen that. Now, at the same time, Asheville, thankfully, has a big buy local movement. They encourage people to shop from local businesses. And for all of the reasons it's important to shop from local businesses because of what it does for a community, same is true for Black-owned businesses. The YMI was a hub because there was property to rent for Black-owned businesses right here downtown. Mountain BizWorks is another current place that provides a boost and services and training. Green Opportunities provides training and support. There are a lot of individuals who do that. Self-Help Credit Union is another place that it's going to help more than a larger, distant corporate entity. And I just have one quote I'll share about this. I put this on my website because Dr. Martin Luther King said this after demonstrations in Albany, Georgia, and I think it really resonates today. You can't win against a political structure where you don't have the votes, but you can win against an economic power structure when you have the economic power to make the difference between a merchant's profit and loss. And that is exactly what can make this Black-owned businesses succeed, and it's exactly what has caused many small businesses to fail. when a person who has their business interests lives in this community and is beholden to their neighbors and knows the people around them, they make decisions that feed the interests of their own community. And when that entity is located somewhere else at headquarters, they know that the decisions they make about who they hire, how much they pay, the kind of benefits they offer, where they shop, where they'll get their supplies, are not going to affect them if they make decisions that don't nurture the community or in fact hurt the community. So knowing that we all have this dollar in our pocket that serves as a vote of support or, you know, of denying support to any business, that's what can really push forward, that we all can, whether you're a member of the Black community or consider yourself an ally, to know that when a person steps up and takes the risk of saying, I'm going to open a business and support myself, that we can all be allies and say, I'm going to shop there first. I know that that money needs to go there more than it needs to go somewhere else. And I believe all that stuff about buying local and why it's important. So that's what we could see more of.
That's great. I really appreciate that last statement you made, because really the last question I have is, what are we capable of rebuilding? You know, we've talked about the history, we've talked about the breakdown that hasn't necessarily been back to revitalization, but now what's next? How can we really truthfully rebuild? What is on the table for us in the effort to actually see an equity shift in small business ownership of African Americans and all people of color at a level of market match, right? So you've made a couple of points of that, and I want to also say a regional economy, a local economy that has at its core individual consumers and purchasers who actually create a diverse portfolio of where they purchase is very powerful. It actually shifts a whole bunch of stuff. I can say personally that where I purchase things for my home and where I purchase things for my child is all diverse owners, small business owners from all different backgrounds, and many of them are Black-owned businesses. And I'd like to challenge everyone here just to take a personal inventory. How many of you are purchasing from Black-owned businesses? People you know who have these businesses, they're looking to add more jobs, to create more stability, and to create succession models that allow other people to purchase those businesses in the future. And so what final words would you like to leave our group with today around the importance and the responsibility of stewardship we have to each other for building a beautiful, vibrant local economy that includes African American-owned businesses?
Well, one thing I can speak to, I'll just wave this. I'm sitting at that table right there, the second one there. This is the card for my website, and that has that Black-owned business directory. And the point of that was to provide a place where someone could go and see, where are all the, I need an accountant, you know, where can I find the Black accountant? Because I really would like to support a brother. And then you could use that information. It is something that I bought it myself. And when you said, I didn't just think of it myself. I was part of a group, I'm still part of a group of women of color who get together pretty regularly. And this was a discussion we had been having for a while. And one of them said to me, you've been saying you're gonna make this Black-owned business directory for a while, but you haven't done it yet. And I hate that. So I was like, all right, fine. I went up on WordPress and bought a domain, and they all chipped in some money for me to buy the domain and to start it up. So it wasn't just me alone, and it's never been just me alone. But I literally do drive around, and if I see a van drive by and there's a Black guy driving it and it's like so-and-so's painting, I'll take a picture of the thing and I'll call them and say, hi, is that your business? Yes, okay, well, I'd like to include you in the Black-owned business directory. So knowing that there are people who are saying, I know that there are Black-owned businesses out here, they may not be as visible as I wanted, but I'm gonna do the work to find them and support them. Having initiatives like this where people with capital say, I'm ready to invest and ready to funnel money that's going to uplift these businesses in particular, because it has to happen. Asheville does need the vibrancy of that diverse community. So all of us can vote with our dollars and spread the word and shop wisely, knowing that every dollar you spend feeds what you're spending it on. So if you want to feed Amazon and the way that they operate, or would you rather feed your neighbor and the way that they're raising their family? So those are choices that we make every day. And I need to do better with it myself. It's really convenient to go online and throw the thing in your shopping cart and not think about it too much and think, oh, it's a little $3 cheaper. But when you cheap out on things like that, know that those dollars are counted just as well.
Thank you, Sasha. Thank you, Sasha.
Thank you.
Well said. Well, we have a little bit more to go, but before we get into some more of the overview of the Diverse Community Capital, I'd like to invite Karen Lambert to the stage. She is the Regional Bank President of Western Atlantic, and I just found out that she's only been the president in this region for less than a year. So great opportunity to get to know her. Thank you, Karen. Come on up.
Thank you, Kimberly. And I want to start by simply saying thank you to Kimberly and Sasha. I feel so enlightened in the history lesson and the story that's really foundational to the work that this organization is doing, has done, will do in the future. So the meaningful, significant history and evolvement over time really struck me. So I just wanted to compliment them for being so compelling in that short time. I feel like I was in a 3-hour history class, so thank you for that. As Kimberly said, I'm Karen Lambert. I am the Regional Bank President for Western North Carolina and a little corner of Southwest Virginia. And I will say I've learned more about coal in the last 10 months than you ever thought was possible. So that's been a great experience, but the best part is no matter where I am in my region, I'm in these beautiful mountains. And my office is here in Asheville, so I'm centered here, and I really say my office is in my car because I'm somewhere different every day. But the reason I'm here today is to participate in the announcement, and I'm really excited about this, that Mountain BizWorks is one of 13 organizations nationwide to receive grant funds and lending capital through our Diverse Community Capital Small Business Program. And Wells Fargo started that program and launched in 2015 with the purpose of assisting diverse-owned small businesses. We're now in our 5th installment, which involves these 13 organizations, of which Mountain BizWorks is one. And we're giving over $12 million to those 13 organizations. We have extended the program, which is also very exciting news, through 2020. And we will award through 2020 $175 million to CDFIs across the nation. So we're really, really excited and proud of that. Now, the Diverse Community Capital Program is just one of many ways that Wells Fargo shows our commitment and demonstrates our commitment to helping small businesses, diverse-owned small businesses, start, stabilize, and thus grow. Thanks to the work of community development financial institutions like Mountain BizWorks, more diverse small businesses will receive capital, technical assistance, various resources to help make their businesses and communities even stronger. So, Wells Fargo is very, very proud to support Mountain BizWorks with a grant for $250,000 and an additional $400,000 in lending capital to help diverse small business owners in Western North Carolina. So we're very proud of that. The really special thing is that will help support this organization to assist underserved populations in our communities who often do not qualify for the more traditional bank financing in order to access the capital they need to grow. Mountain BizWorks and Wells Fargo shares a common vision and mission in the fact that we absolutely know that when we help small businesses start, grow, and thrive, we all prosper. And most importantly, our communities prosper. So, I am very pleased to participate in presenting a check to Mountain BizWorks for $650,000. And I'd like to invite my counterparts, my colleagues, and fun people to know from Wells Fargo, Brandon Wallace, our market president and business banking manager, Rod Banks, community development, and any other Wells Fargo person who's feeling really proud and would like to join us for this presentation, please come up. And there's Vanessa. How did I you were standing over there.
I was hiding over there, yes.
All righty.
Spend your money at these people's businesses. Did you notice Anthony trying to take my check? So folks, do spend your money at the business of those people you just saw up on stage. They have businesses in town, you need to shop with them. So first, I really want to thank Wells Fargo for being bold enough and brave enough to stand up for entrepreneurs of color. This is a significant and meaningful grant for us, and we will do our part to make you proud as well as our community. Mountain BizWorks has been helping businesses in our area start, grow, and thrive for almost 30 years. Next year is our 30th anniversary. And we're real proud of the things we've done and the impact that we have on our local economy. And we're also very proud of the fact that almost a quarter of all of our alumni are entrepreneurs of color. We think that's a great thing, but we think we can do a lot better. Recently we conducted a research study called the Economic Gap Analysis, where we compared the metropolitan area of Asheville with metropolitan areas across the country. And part of what we were looking for and found out was what type of business sectors are overrepresented or underrepresented in our market. Because when we have underrepresented businesses, that means our local economy, our local dollars have to go outside the region to acquire those types of services. This information helps us make good funding decisions. It helps entrepreneurs make good business plan decisions. But we also looked at how do entrepreneurs who are African American or Latinx compare with their white counterparts. And we kind of knew what the story was going to be, but it was even starker than we expected. An entrepreneur of color has less than half the opportunity, or half the chance of becoming a business owner. And when we looked at the average revenues generated by white-owned businesses compared to non-majority-owned businesses, it's 10 times difference. Mountain BizWorks sees our job as changing that story, and this grant from Wells Fargo is going to help us accomplish that. Over the next 2 years, our goal is to double the volume of lending that we do to entrepreneurs of color, and as a result of that, we will help over 100 businesses get started who are owned by entrepreneurs of color, and that will create over 200 new jobs in those businesses. So thank you for all of your help, and thank you for all of you who have been associated with BizWorks over the years, and will do in the future as well. And Kimberly, I think it's your story.
Isn't it nice to be right on schedule? So this is the last part of this section. I just want to tell you, my role as the Entrepreneurship Program Manager, hopefully soon Director, that'd be nice, wouldn't it? Thanks, Jane. Is really to oversee my regular job, including this new grant. And so I want to talk to you guys a little bit about what you can expect from our team and from my leadership around this particular program. So we already work collaboratively with organizations such as the WNC New Economy Coalition, who provided that study with us from City of Asheville funds. We love it to the work of CoThink, who's been doing this work collaboratively in so many ways in terms of capital sharing and just creating new resources for communities of color. Our job is to continue to collaborate and also very strategically to help those businesses grow. And what that looks like is hearing from the owners, seeing what their benchmarks and business growth plans are, and really activating all the resources we have internally and externally to get them there. When we talk about the socioeconomic factors and the social factors, we're not unique to the nation. The very study that Patrick Fitzsimmons just mentioned was also done by the Kauffman Foundation through AEO, and they found the exact, almost the identical numbers to be true nationwide. So this is a pandemic issue, and the best way we can solve it together is right here in our own backyard. And so what you can expect from us is that we are with you, and we are going to do our part to provide the resources and the capital to get these businesses at a level of visibility and market readiness for national and regional output with what we have on our team. Any coaches here in the room, please raise your hand with Mountain BizWorks. Any of our facilitators, you can see we have people from diverse backgrounds, our board members. We are all committed to making this happen and doubling our numbers over the next 3 years. With that being said, our table host, you'll see entrepreneurs at every table. After you get your lunch, they're gonna lead you through 3 questions based on the talk that Sasha and I had on really how we're going to do it together. What is our core stewardship model for each of us as community members to really see this through? This isn't a one agency thing, this is a community thing. So we'd love to get your notes on paper, kind of hear how you see us going about it, as well as where you're at in the community and what would make a difference for you, and enjoy our lunch together. Thank you.